Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a great rack, I have I know sight, and probably a bunch of eights through any floaters, or through many floaters rather. So fully expecting to bingo with this rack. I know sight does not have any anagrams. My opponent could make a play which doesn't allow me to bingo, so I would then be in a tricky position because this is such a bingo-y rack that I'd be reluctant to play off any tiles, and they're all one-pointers. I guess just playing off the I and the O would leave the best possible rack leave of EINST. Opponent taking a while with this opening move. He could have a bingo of his own. He doesn't. So, does my bingo play? U takes an S, so yes it does. Do I have a bingo through the O? No, I don't. Can I play parallel to U? Well, I can starting at I1, which is not great, or not as good as column 10 for sure. And I could begin underneath the O, but I'd like to get value from the Y, and I can't see a way of doing that. I sight for 68, quite a good pickup, slightly hampered by the duplicates, but overall these are bingo-y tiles. I've got the oid ending. Not seeing any sevens with this rack, but quite a few floaters to consider. Now, how about the E? That would give me the ED ending. Not seeing anything through that. So, oid would leave DINT. Odontoid is good, but that's only one I. So I think with this rack, I am likely to be just playing off a few tiles, or maybe as many as 4, a play of Dido, for example. Could be played in column 11. I know sight only takes an S at the end. Still looking at the floaters, in particular the N, but I'm not seeing anything through that. Both the N and the T duplicate tiles on my rack. Now what about the I-oid ending? That would be with DNT. No, still not seeing anything. Dido plays at the top of column 11 as well as the bottom. Use takes an E for future reference. And opponent again taking a while with this play. But still plenty of time on his clock. So is Dido best? Well, I'm inclined to think it is because I need to take into account score as well as rack leave. And Dido will score more at the bottom of column 11 than at the top. Okay, great. No bingo for opponent, just 15 points. And he provides no new floaters. So this is what I'm thinking of. Dido for 23. Wow, what a pickup. I draw the blank and the rest of the rack pretty bingo-y. So I should be bingoing here. Dido, I think, takes an S. However, there's probably richer pickings elsewhere, or potentially so. How about column 8, beginning with an O. Orientate is 9 letters long. Wow. Opponent opens a triple lane, and I have got this rack. Do I have one? So it could end LATE. That would leave INT blank. I'm just waiting to see if something leaps into my mind before I cycle through the blank. I guess a play could end LANT, keeping EIT. Well, I'm going to look for a bingo with this rack plus an L. So I have the anti-prefix. What about anti-left? I'm not sure about this, but since it's void challenge, I am going to try it. Wow, it is good, 113 points. And since I only had 1 pointers and the double letter square was covered, I didn't need to concern myself with maximizing score, because any triple would score the same. I perhaps could have given some consideration to placing vowels next to premium squares, but I suspect there wasn't a ton of options or a ton of triples with that rack. Now, look what I have drawn. I have drawn the second blank, and I also have a balanced rack in terms of vowels and consonants. I don't think I will be bingoing this turn with a J and a W, but I would hope to get good value from the J and the W to leave a bingo-y rack leave, which I can do with JOW in row E. What else do I have? Great, that spot remains available. Opponent doesn't bingo. I have a 100-point lead. And this is what I'm thinking of, Jow for 35. Is there a better spot? It's easy to be slightly tilty when you have a big lead and you've drawn well. But tilting when you're leading can be just as costly as when you're losing. Not so much in terms of winningness, but in terms of spread or equity, which in a tournament can be the difference between winning and losing. So where else can I play my J? For example, were there to be a good column 8 play with the J doubled, that would be definitely superior to my Jow spot. Well, I'm not seeing anything there. I'm not seeing anything better than Jow in row E. Jow in row I scores a lot less. Anti-left provides nothing. So let me go back to this. Jow for 35. Pretty good. I should be bingoing here. I have Cheerio, which plays in row I. What else do I have? Well, let me consider. I have coherent column 15 onto the T of anti-left. Fantastic. That places the R on the double letter square, so it is worth seeing if I can get my H or C on that square. Opponent bingos, but he leaves my coherent lane alone. Provides nothing, no superior lanes I need to consider. So I just need to consider column 15. Is there a higher scoring play than coherent? And I think I'm just going to quickly squiz through the alphabet. I'm not optimistic. That was Ecorche as a 7. Dereco as a 7. So this rack plus a T. Still not seeing anything. Echoier through the right floater. Well, through no floater, it's a 7. Well, there could be something different ending in a T. I'm going quite quickly here. Cometa with the T in a different place. That is coherent. Still nothing. Now I would have the EST ending. I'm not seeing a bingo here, but I suspect there could be. Looks a pretty good set. Well, I'm not seeing anything other than coherent, so I'm playing this for 89. And look at this, I've drawn an S. Sometimes you don't seem to be able to do any wrong in a game. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen often enough. Now, I would have nil gows through an L. No L's available, but 2 to come. Are there any other bingos here? It's not a particularly bingo-y rack, but there is at least 1-8, which I've just said. I'm not seeing any others. Let me consider the floaters individually. Nothing with the G that I can see. I don't think unshaggy is good. Nothing with the R. How about the A? No. S? No. So what am I going to do with this rack? Well, I guess get rid of the non-bingo-y tiles, which are certainly Y and U. And then I guess I'd like to get rid of the G next. Possibly the H for score, but Y and U for sure. Where can I do that? And do I have any plays in row O? Close to Yuan, but Ra not good. So I'm just restricted to YU in the bottom left, and I would hope to score more than that scores. That's 18 points. Zhao takes an L and an S, probably the L more useful for candidate plays down from the triple word square. I think Poling takes an S, so column 12 a bingo lane for S in penultimate place, or earlier. Now, opponent plays bottom left, so that's my U spot gone. Has he provided anything? Not sure that he has. My U can go in front of RE, but nothing goes in front of GU. And I do want to play off the Y. So I could play here, Guy for 19. I'm taking out a bingo lane, but this rack isn't so bingo-y that I'm anxious to keep bingo lanes open. It's more a case of scoring and rack balancing, which is rack leave. Still plenty of vowels to come, so this is quite a good rack leave. But is there a better placement for Guy? I have 14 minutes on my clock. Column 14, a bingo lane. Dock is good. I'm just looking down column 14 for any placements for my Y, and it can go between K and E. But I'm not seeing anything good. What about a play onto ED? No, not seeing anything there. This doesn't feel great. It's only 19 points. The rack leave isn't amazing. But I'm not seeing anything better. I'm going with this. Well, I was about to say horrendous, but I do in fact have Bavans on my rack. Don't think there's anywhere for it right now. No, which is a shame. Maybe opponent will create an opening. And this is one of these bizarre racks which makes a bingo, but then you struggle to see anything else. And Guy has blocked my play of Bavans as a non-bingo onto this first S of Grast. I lead by 160. G takes an O, I and U underneath it. I have none of those. Zhao has killed development at the top of the board because there are no two-letter plays ending in J. At the moment I have seen no candidate plays, but it's not a disaster given my huge lead. B and V go pretty badly together. Very few spots for anything on this board. Still 27 tiles in the bag. Wow. That is a lot. Q takes a D as well as an S, but I'm not seeing anything good enough to justify burning my S. I can't see any plays ending in ED, which reach the double word square. Ada, not good, otherwise row M could be a useful overlap scoring opportunity. Opponent has gone there. He has not created an opportunity to play Bavans. However, La is good. The real problem with BHV is the lack of plays which play off two of them, including the V. I do have Bar. Let me see what that scores. It is retaining the V, and there's still a V to come. But this isn't a terrible rack leave. Wow, look at this. There's a Z to come, and I'm contemplating playing Bar because HOS takes a Z in front. It's not going to cost me the game. I think I'm far enough ahead. 140 points. However, can I do better than this? What about Van? Keeping Bash. It is the V really is the fly in the ointment. Van provides very little. Nose takes an O, but there's only one of those to come. Quite a big score sacrifice, but I don't want to gift my opponent that Z spot. It's just ridiculous. Just wondering about Bavan, but that's without the H, but that's not good. I'm going with this. I draw vowels. I have behaves, nowhere for that. Let me just check before I jump to that conclusion. No, this column 12 is a bingo lane. Polling may or may not take an S, but the S can't be in last place. Row D, not a bingo lane, nor is row G. Row J is, but I still lack any vowels for going underneath the G. And column 14, I would need an O. Wow, so in this game, the useful vowels in terms of bingo lines are I, O, and U. Quite contrary to the normal situation where A's and E's are the bingo-y vowels. I guess they are in terms of creating bingos on your rack, but in terms of playability on this board, that's not the case. Now, well, Bell takes nothing in front, but opponent has stuck a floater out into the open, but it's not one which avails me. And I'm in quite a tricky spot in terms of spotting any candidate plays. I do have the last S. I wonder if I can use that to good effect. Tricky. And I'd be looking to reach out to the edge of the board with something which only takes an S, but a play of HE, for example, takes more than just an S in front. 10 minutes on my clock. Well, I guess I can just turn over tiles and score reasonably well, 30 points, with behave. Yeah, and I'm not really creating anything. I'm going with this. Wow, I draw the Z. I now have very few vowels, but I do have one. And I have a 170 point lead. Just 12 tiles in the bag. And 7 out of the 19 unseen tiles are vowels, so we are in a vowel drought situation. And I still have no I, O or U, but look at this, there is only 2 I's and 1 O to come. All the U's have been played. Nose only takes an S in front. So, where can I play my Z? Well, I have Fez above and below the E of behave, but both of those stick the Z in the middle of column 15, which is good for opponent. Now I have Fez above EHA in behave, which is good, since nothing goes in front of FE or ZA. So that would be a pretty safe play, and it would score about 30 points. What if that goes? Well, I have Fez and Fed in column 9 at the bottom here. Great, so I have a couple of options. And I don't think there are any super hot Z spots on this board. The V prevents parallel plays to behave unless they are before it or after it, because there are no 2-letter V plays. Behave takes a D and an S. All the Ds have gone, and the last S is on my rack. And it also takes an R. So, 33 points for opponent. Tripe takes an S. Opponent doesn't have one, but may have thought that he needed one in order to minimize his losing spread. I'm still inclined to play Fez here. Am I? Well, yes, 40 points, not 30. And if I played it in column 9, 32. So this is a good score. And the stripe option is available to me. And Fez doesn't prevent me sticking a B or an M on this double letter square. So, Fez for 40. Great, I do draw a couple of vowels. 4 tiles in the bag. Pretty non-bingo-y selection. I'm not sure I do have any plays in column A with my B or M doubled, which is a shame, but that's the reality. I could play Moz or Mose in down column 15, making behavers. That would be pretty handy. Do I have anything slightly longer than that? I don't think I do. But this is a fairly balanced rack. And I have the final O for going in front of nose. That's not a bingo lane. Only 6 tiles can go in front of ED because of the V. I don't think Bala is good. I think it's only good as a plural. Mala is good, so I could play Mob. 29 points, that's pretty good. There could be some bingos through the right floater, in the sense that I haven't ruled out that possibility, but on the board at the moment there are no floaters. I'm just wondering about Mosa, M-O-S-A, that may be good, or I may be just confusing it with Mosa Saw. 35 points, were it to be good. Not a huge number of opportunities on this board for either of us. Now, I do finally have a tile which goes under the G. So row J is a bingo lane for bingos ending OS or OM. But I don't think this rack makes a 7-letter bingo. Now, opponent does provide a floater and just the R, and he's also creating a 7-letter bingo lane. He himself does not have a bingo. I can see his remaining tiles. And I don't have a 7, but if I did, it would probably play... Neither of us have an E for going underneath the R, so there are no hot plays in row H. Opponent could play cat above rant. So if opponent played cat, then AR would now take a B and an M underneath it. So I could retain the tiles for Ambo. That Tau is good, so Ambo would play. For about 36 points. But that would require playing off NRS, since I wish to go out in 2. So I don't think there's a way of doing that. So I was thinking of mob for 28. Can I go out with snar in 2 spots? 6 minutes on my clock. Mob doesn't feel great. I could play off the S for nothing. Sorry, for 2 points. Keeping ran, that might be more tractable. Let me just take this back. I've got 6 minutes. Maybe I should be obstructing opponent's play of cat. Because where else is he going to play? He could stick the Q between these 2 eyes for 22 points, but that's a lot less than playing in row F. So what if I played knob for 13, and I was thinking of setting up my S? I don't think I can score very much in that spot though. 5 minutes on my clock. Well, that sets up cat in row H, so that's not good. So in fact, any play in that spot sets up cat in row H, which I wish to avoid. Well, what a tricky spot my opponent has placed me in at the end here. What about Baum? 21 points, and then I would have Naz, top right. This stops opponent playing his Q. Or his X, I think. I'm going with this. What have I missed after all that time? So I have Naz top right. And I'm sure I have other options available. £27 points for that. Four minutes on opponent's clock and 4 on mine. So, and my clock is running. So opponent has played G top right. Okay. So where can I play NAS? Or ANS. Well, I can certainly play it in column 15 for 13 points. I can play it in column 9 for less. Let me be a little bit more methodic. I'm just scanning the board. This is only 3 tiles, so this shouldn't be too arduous or lengthy. So I have Naz, San, and Ans. Ish is good. Nope, not seeing anything better. So Naz for 13. And the final score, 307 for my opponent, 500 for me, a winning margin of 193 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first, pretty grim rack. Plays you, and I have Inosight, which is a great start. Opponent's rack plays Polling. Wow, I thought that was a bingo for a moment, but it was a 7-letter non-bingo, K5. Oh, a double-double. I should have paid heed to that opening for 36 points. Instead, I played Dido for 23. So I dropped 13 points to have a rack leave of INT versus a rack leave of O. Well, INT is not 13 points better than O. I would say INT must be worth about 5 or 6 points, and O must be worth about -1, so I suspect there's about a 7 or 8 difference in the rack leaves, but a 13-point difference in the scores, so Indicted would have been better. Opponent's rack plays Whale, which was fantastic. So there were 4 triple-triples, anti-left, which I played, but also Ratline, Tonalite, and Tin Plate. Okay, well, delighted to have spotted one of those, and that gave me a good lead. Opponent's rack plays Duica, and I've drawn well and played Jow, which looks fine. Opponent comes back with a bingo, Grassed, but my rack gives me Coherent. But there was a higher scoring bingo, B14. Troche, wow. So Troche getting the 8 tripled scores more than a triple word play. I think I would still have played Coherent even if I'd seen Troche, because Troche provides scoring opportunities in column 15 and Coherent provides very little. Opponent's rack plays Q. Wow, Gunji, that's nice. C11 through the G of Polling. Wow, yes, I think I'd have played that if I'd seen it. Good score, good rack leave. Instead, I played Guy for 19. Yep, Gunji, definitely better. Opponent's rack plays Loaf. And now I have Bavans, nowhere for it. L3 bar. I didn't fancy that because of the Z hook and the V retention. So I play Van for 21, and I like that. Opponent's rack plays Bell, and I play Behave for 30. However, A12, Heaves was available, and Polling's is therefore good. But I would have been reluctant to do that, despite my lead, and despite the H not being much of a danger for a triple-triple. I think it's just unnecessarily volatile given how secure a lock I've got on this game at this stage. So I play Behave, opponent plays Tripe, And now I have Fez for 40, and that looks fine. Opponent's rack plays Rant. Great, I didn't blot my copybook by missing a bingo at the end. So K4, mobs, thought about that for 30 points. Wanted to take out this cat spot without realising that there was a chi spot top right. So 36 for cat and 35 for chi, so very little difference in score, so I shouldn't have concerned myself with the cat danger. But it's not obvious that mobs is vastly superior to my play, because ANR is a pretty grim rack leave. So I played Baum for only 9 fewer points, and I'm retaining the S, which will give me options, so I don't think that's a terrible play. Opponent has Chi. And now finally, wow, C12. What have I missed here? Oh, Vans and Polings for 24 points. Gosh, I played Naz for 13, but there were 11 more points available. And I also garnered quite a lot from Count back at the end. So what a game, absolutely rip-roaring stuff. I drew very well and got off to a flying start with Einesight, drew both blanks and was able to play bingos pretty much immediately with them, including a triple-triple. So overall, just a rip-roaring game where pretty much everything went my way. Many thanks to my opponent for such a great fun game for me. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.